Well, we always hope our kids are listening to the lessons we are trying to teach them. I'm so excited to be here with Mark Villareal, and we are talking about lessons from his mom. So tell us a little bit about this book that you've written.
Well, I'm a leadership coach, speaker, and consultant, and I wrote my first book, Shortcuts Get You Lost, which actually is a lesson from Mom. But I would always blog about stories that my mom taught me from lessons growing up and how they relate to being a good leader in business today. And I would say my mom was the best leadership coach who chose to be a housewife. And it really just picked up steam that people said, I need to hear more about that story. So I wrote the book. It's 40 lessons from childhood until her death. And I relate all to business as being a good leader in business as well, what it taught me.
So when did you first have that aha moment saying, this is something my mom taught me and I can actually use that in business. This can actually teach me and help me be a leader.
Well, I will say this, that as I became a young adult, my mom would ask me about work. Ask me about, and there's one, did you make a difference today? That's one of her lessons. Go out and make a difference every day. Make a difference in someone else's life. And then it caught up to where she said, you didn't make a difference in your own life, because she noticed I was running myself ragged. So I knew from that time frame that she was really big on character and establishing that she wanted me to make a difference in other people's lives.
Well, and to look at other people in a good light. Tell us about the story of when you learned that everyone out there is a 10.
Yeah. I was a young teenager, and my mom I didn't know she was listening to a phone call, so that's, your mom does listen. And I said something derogatory about one of the kids that wanted to hang around our group. And my mom said, Marcos Antonio, which, if you're Hispanic, you're in trouble, first and middle name in Spanish. And she said, everyone is a 10. And then I tried to explain, but this kid, and he said, no, everyone is a 10. And I want you to understand that. And whether you want them to hang out with you or not, that's, you tell them straight. But you treat everyone as a 10 because they're a child of God. And, whether that you like them in life, you want to be treated as a 10 and make sure that you do that. So it was a great lesson. It's something that we teach in business, as we teach every leader to treat every employee as a 10. And when they're not successful with you, that's okay. But because we built businesses that treat everyone as a 10, when those people go elsewhere, they become your best customers, or they refer employees to you. They said, I wasn't successful there, but that was still a great business and a great environment. So those are the lessons that how I relate them to business and what it taught me.
Well, and I think that can also help to teach other people that they are a 10.
Well, that's the thing, is that significance of, if you're a child of God, no one can take that from you. So, my mom was of the faith, and so that's where everything was grounded from. And then, she always taught me that values are what you live by and principles are what you stand on. And everything from that is built upon that, and that's your very character and in every decision. And it's the very same in business.
Well, and speaking of decisions, let's talk about this other book that you have too, Shortcuts Get You Lost. Tell us about that.
Well, it was my first book, and it's about how to create culture in a business. But the lesson comes when I was walking home from school, and I wanted to take a shortcut to get home earlier, and I got lost, got very afraid, had to backtrack and find out where I started that shortcut to get home. And then when I got home, my mom was a housewife, so she was, one, very afraid, but then very angry. Used my first and middle name in Spanish again, and she said, shortcuts will get you lost. And the dangers of a shortcut is that when you get lost, you have to backtrack to where you started that shortcut, and then it'll take you longer. And so in the book, I relate that to business and how to build a business culture that lasts forever.
Mark, tell me what your mom's name is.
Mary Alice.
And Mary Alice is a wise woman and a very wise mother, and we can all learn lessons from her. If people are wanting to purchase these books, where can they go to get them?
Well, they're on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
Okay, and what about finding more information about you?
Well, I have a website, www.markvillareal.com. And in fact, if they go to contact me, if they want to send an email, I'd be happy to send your listeners a free ebook of the book. And or if they had questions on leadership or want to contact me for any other thing as well.
Well, what I also want to learn is how I can give good lessons to my kids. So thank you so much, Mark, for being here today and sharing that. Thank you, Mary Alice, for sharing him with us too. Brian?